Today we're collecting broodstock for American shad restoration program we have on the Roanoke River. We're going to collect adult American shad that the hatchery staff will take back to the hatchery and spawn in the hatchery, and they'll produce eggs, and then the eggs will hatch, produce fry, and at anywhere from 3 to 12 days old they'll be stocked back into the Roanoke River.
And so students get to do this in their classrooms on a micro scale and really get to participate in the project as if they were a fisheries biologist participating in the restoration effort.
The day you receive your fish, you'll also be adding to the tank before you get the fish Dr. Tim's bacteria starter, which is basically a product that puts some bacteria into your tank that can start growing on those bioballs and start removing any ammonia that the fish produce once you put them in there. You don't want to put it in too soon because they need the food, which is basically the fish poop, and they won't have it until you put your fish in there. But you need the bacteria in there as well to remove that ammonia from the system.
It's just water. Oh, wow, look at that.
When the schools receive the eggs, they have to acclimatize the eggs to their new habitat. So they've been raised in the hatchery in Edenton, and they've been exposed to certain water temperature, water chemistry. And although ideally, that water chemistry will match the water chemistry of the tank that they have in their classroom, there might be some slight differences. So when your eggs arrive from the hatchery, one of the most important things you need to do, first of all, is help those eggs acclimatize to the water that's in the tank. So what you're going to do is, very first thing, just float the bag of eggs in the tank to let them begin the process of acclimatizing to the temperature of the water in the tank. Then after 15 minutes or so, you'll open up the bag, take off the rubber band or however it's sealed, and you're going to measure both the temperature of the water in the tank as well as the temperature of the water in the eggs in the bag. So you can use the thermometer that's provided to you to do that. Once you measure those temperatures, what you want to do is add a little bit of water from the tank into the bag with the eggs. Again, just to help them acclimatize to both the chemistry and the temperature of the water in the tank. You can use your turkey baster, you could use a cup, just a little bit, a few squirts worth at a time. And then what I'm going to do is just let them seal it back up and float in the tank for another 15 minutes or so, at which point I'll read the temperature again and see how close it is. Once you reach a point where the temperature of the water in the bag is equal to the temperature of the water in the tank, we can begin the process of adding the eggs to the egg chamber.
We're at the same temperature. Yeah. 65 and 65. Yeah.
To add the eggs to the tank, the first thing we're going to do is remove the tube from the egg chamber and set it off to the side. And then you can either use your turkey baster to remove most of the water from this chamber, or you can detach it and dump it, but it's probably easier to use your turkey baster. And just stick that down in there and suck up the water and put it into the reservoir. The reason that we're doing this is because there is water in the bag with the eggs, and when we add them, we'll be adding water to this chamber. We don't want to overflow the chamber. Once you've removed as much of the water from the chamber as possible, you can begin the process of adding the eggs to the egg chamber. Again, we've made sure that the temperature of the water in the bag is equal to the temperature of the water in the tank so that our eggs are acclimatized and ready to go. And then you can use your turkey baster to suck up the eggs from the bag and put them into their new home in the egg chamber. In the tank, we have a couple of different things that help create the right conditions for the eggs. And one of them is the water flowing up from the bottom reservoir into the top reservoir and into the egg chamber there that agitates the eggs.
The fish in their natural habitat do naturally move with the currents in the waters. And so when the eggs are released by the fish, they do tumble around on the bottom of the rivers. And they're made to do that. And so they can withstand that tumbling and moving around. And the climate inside of the tank actually helps to produce that, and you want that with the eggs. You want them moving around. Stagnant eggs with this particular species do not do well. It's important that you regulate the flow in the tank using the valve on the side. So water flow into the egg chamber is really important because you do want that good movement through the tank, and but you also don't want the eggs shooting out of the fry chamber. And striking that balance sometimes is a little difficult, and it does take a little finesse and a little time to get used to how the system operates.
Helen, I got it. I think it's the top one.
What do you think? You know the best way to do it is put it up against the paper. Here, the white paper.
Water quality is important to monitor with this tank, and you are provided with a test kit that helps you measure all of the different parameters. So you're going to want to monitor for that, because spikes in either one of those two can lead to problems with the fish.
One of the things that you'll have to do is make sure you maintain a constant temperature in your tank of between 64 degrees and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. That allows the eggs in the fry to develop at the right temperature and at the right speed.
If the water is too warm, the fish develop too fast, and you only have the fish for a week. And so if they develop too fast, you get a large die-off because we are not feeding the fry. And so we hope to get the fry to the rivers before they need a large intake of food.
No, these are baby shad, baby fish.
2-liter bottles with water and put them in the freezer, and these go in the bottom reservoir.
So to maintain the temperature, what you can do is keep a bunch of 2-liter soda bottles in the freezer and full of water so that they're full of ice. And you can place those in the lower reservoir, down with the bio balls in the bottom, in order to cool the tank off to the temperature that you need. You'll probably have to keep a few of those in the tank at most of the time in order to keep the temperature low.
And what's going to happen to that little baby out there?
It's going to grow up.
Yeah. And
The students are really excited to participate in this project because it is so hands-on, and it's a live animal that they're dealing with. And this is one that they really don't get a chance to see up close very often. Fish eggs are really neat, and the development that happens over the week is just amazing. It really does almost happen right before your eyes. I mean, you get to see the backbone develop and their eyes, and they really transform in that week that you have them.